La Liga, which of course is on ESPN+. Sunday, Mallorca, managed by Javier El Vasco Aguirre, who of course managed Mexico at the 2002 and 2010 World Cups, beat Real Madrid 1-0. Mallorca's goal coming in the 13th minute off a weird own goal by Nacho. And Mallorca now 10th in the league, Herc. 10th in the Spanish table, 9 points from the drop. Remember, they suffered all the way to the end last season under Aguirre, trying to avoid relegation. Herc, is Javier El Vasco Aguirre, as of this moment right now, CONCACAF's best manager at the club level? What say you?
It's a tough one. I don't know if he's the best manager right now, but he may be by default.
Who's better?
Well, that's the thing. You don't have better right now. Who are you going to say? Jesse March just got fired. You could theoretically say he was at that level. David Wagner just got a job at Norwich. Matarazzo could be back at the helm, right? Mm-hmm. But none of these guys right now you're going to put up at the helm. Piojo Herrera doesn't have a team. Turco Mohamed, et cetera, et cetera.
What about your boy John Herdman? He was linked to Leeds. Maybe he's gonna replace Jesse Marsh.
John Herdman, okay, but his last performance at the World Cup left a lot to be desired.
Okay.
So I don't know. You could say it's. You could say.
Well, you can't give me another one if you can't give me somebody better.
Well, no. Let me tell you what. Let me give you something though. What I will say is, you could say it's Javier Aguirre by default, but I'll tell you where he runs away with it. He's by far the best coach in CONCACAF history. There's no two ways about it. You look at
totality of resume.
Just forget the resume for a second, which is very difficult because you've coached multiple national teams. Okay, multiple national teams, multiple countries. You've coached some of the biggest teams in the world, like Atletico Madrid. You've been in some of the biggest places in the world. You've had some of the biggest platforms in the world. But look how long he's been relevant. People know who Javier Aguirre is in La Liga. This man has survived coaching in a game that's evolved so many different ways over the years. When you think about CONCACAF players and how little respect they've gotten, it's a handful of players you could say have played at just an elite level. Hugo Sanchez, Rafa Marquez, Chicharito Hernandez, a Casey Keller, Tim Howard, whatever you want, even a Dwight York, those type of players, okay? There are handfuls of players. But when we talk about coaches, international managers, he's in a different table. He eats apart. There aren't many coaches who are on that level. Resume, style, longevity, everything you want, he's been there. So when I was doing this exercise of who's the best today, I found myself thinking it doesn't really matter because it'll be another flavor of the week come next week or flavor of the month. But there's only one Javier Aguirre.
It's easy to, after you beat Real Madrid, get caught up in the moment. But to your point, there's not a lot of options here, right? It is a little bit of an honor by default. But even if we lose kind of our bias, our prisoner of the moment bias, we can look at the entirety of career and see a guy who's had success not just at various stops, but at the different levels, at club and at international level. This is a guy who got Mexico out of the group phase in 2 World Cups, and he's gotten both Osasuna and Atletico Madrid qualified to the Champions League at times when those clubs and their aspirations were markedly different, certainly Atletico Madrid, than they are today. So I think this is a guy who, if you look right now, you say, wow, what he's doing with Mallorca, 10th in the table, a team that a couple years ago was in the 2nd division, pretty impressive. You can also look at the entirety of his resume and say, there's really nobody else in this region that comes close.
It should count double having to work for Stu Holden, so I'll give it to him.
Yeah, true.